Hey guys, welcome back to Small Engines Questions and Answers video number 100. Finally, I've reached the 100th video, and as I mentioned before, I'll be taking a little break for a month. I'm not going to quit doing the Q&As, but I will be back on June 15th with episode number 101, so make sure to come back then. After 2 years, it's just a little break that I need, and because the nice weather is coming, I have a lot of things to do here around the house, and for my wife, as you guys know, she's not well. Anyways, I want to welcome you guys to this week's episode, and I'm going to get started right into the questions. In my first question today, a YouTuber emailed me the other day telling me he's got a motor on a lawnmower and he can spin the engine over, but he doesn't feel any compression, but he hears little noises inside the engine. So he's wondering if it's the connecting rod, and if it is, how can he know that for sure? Well, ultimately you're going to know when you take the engine apart if it really is the connecting rod, but some signs and symptoms are as follows, and I've got an older Briggs & Stratton engine here with a broken connecting rod. The first thing I'm going to show you on this engine is that the block is cracked open, as you can see. Now that's a telltale sign of a broken connecting rod. And another symptom will be that when you turn it over, it's really easy. It's even easier than if the spark plug's off and the spark plug's on. That's because the piston isn't moving up and down in the cylinder. The connecting rod is broken right off the crankshaft. Now if you can easily turn over your engine like this, on whatever it may be, a lawnmower or a lawn tractor, then more than likely your connecting rod is broken. Now in this case it's pretty easy to see because you can see here on the crankshaft that the rod is broken right off. And if you wanted to take the engine off, you'd have to take off the sump cover over here. And you'd have to take off all the bolts holding the head. Now if you have a lawnmower, you would have to take off the sump cover underneath. So you would have to take the engine right off the lawnmower and then take it all apart. There's a bit more involved in taking apart a lawnmower, which is on the lawnmower, than the engine I just showed you. And another question this YouTuber had was, is it worth repairing? Well, it all depends. If you're doing it for yourself and your labor's free, then it's probably worth it. But what you should do is, if you're doing it for a customer, is price out the parts and an idea of what your labor may cost. Give them a call, see if they still want it fixed. If you're afraid not to get paid, then you may want to ask for a deposit for the parts. At least that way you're not out of the parts if people decide that it gets too expensive for them. But usually I don't have a problem. I usually tell everybody before I do this kind of repair just how expensive it may become. If it's close to even half price or more of a new engine or a new lawnmower, then I usually tell them that it's better to just go buy a new unit. Now a question I just got from a YouTuber the other day, which is also a landlord. He asked me, where's a good place to buy a cheap lawnmower because it's just for my renters? Well, a good place to buy a cheap brand new lawnmower would be Walmart or Home Depot. I'm not actually advertising for Walmart and Home Depot here, but I do know that I have seen some pretty good and inexpensive lawnmowers there. Also, you can check your local classifieds. Here in Canada, one common one is kijiji.ca. You can often find lawnmowers there for $50 that still run good. And if you don't want to worry about who uses it, then you can't go wrong. Just make sure it's in good condition though, because sometimes you can end up buying a lemon or spending more money than if you had actually gone out and bought a new one. Now my next question is a little bit more serious for the YouTuber. What he says happened to him is that the spark plug threads have stripped in his grass trimmer. So he's wondering if it's possible to repair that without having to buy a whole new cylinder. Well, there's good news. Yes, you can fix this, and I recommend using a Healy coil specifically made for spark plugs. So I'll just use this old chainsaw here as a reference. Now you'd want to make sure you measure the hole here to get the proper Healy coil. And usually it's around 14 millimeters. In this case, I'm just going to stick it in a 14 millimeter hole. You could go buy a Healy coil specifically designed for spark plugs, as I've mentioned. Follow the instructions, and most of the time it's going to work flawlessly. And when I say follow the instructions, I really mean that. Also, when you buy your Healy coil, try to buy it with the tap and the drill bit in one kit. Then you're absolutely sure that you're tapping and drilling the proper size hole. If you do not buy it with the tap and the drill, then make sure you absolutely use the correct sizes when you drill and tap it. And then when you put your spark plug on, just use the proper torque. Don't over tighten it. Don't take the spark plug off unless you really have to. and it should be good for the life of the machine. Now another question I often get is what should be the air gap between the flywheel and the ignition module on my power equipment? Well, usually what I use is a business card. You just line up the magnets from the flywheel, you can see them here, to the ignition module. Make sure the bolts are loose on the ignition module. Then you want to insert the business card in between. And again, make sure the magnets are lined up with the ignition module. Then just tighten up the bolts and pull out the business card. It's going to leave a small air gap there, which is usually good for most engines. If you still have a problem after that, you may want to get the specific air gap for your specific piece of equipment. For my next question today, I have an older Tecumseh lawnmower engine with the sump cover off. And a YouTuber was wondering, when you put the cover back on, where does this arm here go into? Well, it goes in the groove right over here on the sump cover, so when you put it back on, you want to make sure you line up the end of the shaft right here inside here. So you may have to turn it a bit, and when you put the cover on, just take a good look as it's going down to make sure where it goes. And before I end off today, I want to tell you guys that I really enjoy making the small engines questions and answers every Friday. And I really enjoy making the repair videos as well. I get a good feeling when people email me saying that they repaired their piece of equipment by watching my videos. And again, my videos are designed to help anybody off the street, whether they've worked on mechanical stuff before or not, to be able to fix their own things. So it's really good that we can share our comments and learn from each other like this. And the more we ask questions, the more we're going to learn. We can never think that we know everything. That's another tip. If you want to become a good mechanic, ask a lot of questions and never think that you know everything. And another little announcement, I may make the small engines questions and answers bi-weekly when I come back, so it may be once every 2 weeks for the rest of the summer, and I'm hoping in the fall to go back every week. Just the summer is really busy for me, so by having it every second week I can make sure it's well done and that it's out on time and it's not putting too much added pressure to my schedule. And in the meantime, that the Q&A is not up every week, and when I don't have it for the next month, I'm going to be filling in the space with some repair videos. I have a lot of videos in my computer hard drive that need to be edited. Some have been filmed last year, earlier this year, so I'd like to catch up on all these repair videos and put them out there. So don't worry, there's still going to be a lot of new videos coming out, even though the Q&A will not be coming out for the next month after this video today. And another small announcement is I'm almost at 10,000 subscribers. Maybe I am by today. I'm filming this a little earlier in the week. And again, I want to thank you guys for all your support. And also I want to thank all those who faithfully watch my videos every week. Your support is much appreciated, and it makes me want to make even more videos for you guys. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you back in my small engines questions and answers on June 15th, 2012. Have a great weekend.